Okay, so by request of Whisper from the Canadian Discord, I will be showing people what to look for in their gameplay for Beat Saber and how to improve in terms of different skill sets, as opposed to just replaying maps and hoping to get better. Now, the big reason people would be wanting a video like this is, say you've already farmed up, you've beat all the maps that you can beat, you don't really have that generic I can beat this map and I will see myself get better type of mentality anymore. You've hit a peak in farming, and at this point, largely the only thing that you can do is sit there and try and replay maps to get arbitrarily smaller increases in score each time you replay it, which is essentially akin to just you memorize the map and how to play it so you get a higher score. There's no inherent skill increase that comes as a result of that. And while some players get really good while doing it, my personal opinion is that it's better to try and get better at the game through learning skills than through learning maps. And I'll show you what I mean by this through this diagram. So the way I always view it is sort of like that backyard baseball style of your character has these stats in these different areas: speed, fielding, throwing, hitting, stuff like that. Essentially, I look at it the same way in Beat Saber. The 6 main skills that I came up with are speed, stamina, reading, combo, control, and rhythm. These are in no particular order, though I would say rhythm probably is being at the bottom, as inherently Beat Saber is one of the least rhythmically challenging games out of all the rhythm games. However, the rest are pretty much all at the same level in my opinion. So, what comes with this is training these areas. So, someone like me, I see myself maybe here, stamina maybe here, reading low as well, combo very good, control very good, rhythm pretty good as well. So this is how I would view my own self as a player. And each of these I'll give a little definition. Speed being how fast you can go, right? And a lot of consistency has to do with speed as well. So being able to keep time at a certain speed for a long enough period of time. It's one thing if you can burst, say, 320 BPM for 2 beats. It's another thing if you can hold it for an entire map. Stamina, that's pretty obvious. It's your ability to go through an entire map and not get tired. It's probably one of the nicest skills to have if you have it naturally. Reading is obviously how well you read things. This can also deal with NJS, so the higher the NJS, you might have a harder time reading. This could also do with note density though, so if you have a very long stream section and you have trouble reading the patterns, that would fall into reading. Combo. This is your ability to essentially just not miss. Combo and control go together a lot. Your ability to not miss often comes with your ability to control your body and what you do, because you might be able to read the note you're supposed to hit and not hit it, and that would be down to your control over it. But combo usually brings in a lot of different skills. And then you have control. In my case, it's largely wrist control. I like to think that I have good wrist control. And that comes through practicing a lot of maps that I would typically miss on. A lot of maps with weird angles. And this also can fall into AC. Now, one of the most underrated aspects of your accuracy is actually your ability to stay consistent and control your arm movements consistently. For AC, you want to obviously slice down the middle of a block. Someone like SFK, he can do that over and over and over again without running into any sort of trouble and stay consistent on his AC. Now, even just slight arm movements, a very slight movement different from the one previous can be the difference between 112 and 115. So that control can be a huge aspect when it comes to your accuracy. And then rhythm. Rhythm, obviously, how well you can keep time, how well you can hold keeping time. And the only real way I see rhythm as a large aspect of this game is either when you have polyrhythmic sections, such as in Puds' ephemerization. You have the sliders on one hand, and then you have single notes on the other. Also in his Goodbye. So polyrhythmic things such as that, and maps that have either often BPM changes, or changes between 1/2 and 1/3, or 1/4 and 1/6, or 1/6 and 1/8. Ones that a lot of times mappers don't even find the difference between. It's important that you as a player are able to find that difference. Now, when looking at these skill cards, you're supposed to be able to train each individual section, right? And this is done by playing different maps. And one of the reasons why I see things such as farming as not so beneficial is largely the stamina area. Maps such as Freedom Dive are very hard on stamina. And don't think just by playing a ranked Freedom Dive and getting a good score that you have good stamina. For example, when I first made my climb to top 10, I got my Freedom Dive score up to about a 90.5. And this was done with 4 pauses. I had to pause 4 times. So if I'm pausing 4 times through Freedom Dive, clearly my stamina isn't there. I just have the accuracy to make it through. So while you can play ranked maps to train stamina, I wouldn't say playing ranked maps trains stamina unless you do it right. Now I've gotten to the point where I got a 93.2 on Freedom Dive without a single pause. And that came through stamina training in other aspects. A large part of that is also speed. Training speed will also largely train your stamina, as most high-speed maps are streams. Whether that be at 250 BPM, 270, 280 like Speed of Link. You get up to 300s. You get up 320 such as Necrophagitos. Right? Training those speed and trying to remain consistent with speed will train your stamina as well. And what ends up happening is when you train these, for example, if I were to just continuously play 3-minute long stream maps back to back to back, all relatively high speed and not pausing, I might get something like this. I might get an increase in that stat. And that's the way that I almost look at it. I look at it like back in the backyard baseball games, right? Or another one, MLB Power Pros. In MLB Power Pros, there was a career mode where you could train up your stats. And to do this, you would do something such as go to the gym or go for a run. And when you did those, you would have one of maybe 3 or 4 out of the total area that you were allowed to increase. So whether, like if you went for a run, you could increase speed or you could increase stamina, right? Or you could decide to split those. And the way I view it is, basically every time you train one of these areas, you're going for a run, okay? So you go for a run, your speed increases, okay? I mean, you go to the library, your reading increases. It's the same sort of concept. So as you go through each of these sections, that section can be worked on. And as opposed to trying to work on them all as a whole, I prefer to strongly focus on 1 or 2 of them. In the description, I'll try and link maps that go with each of these. Ones that can help you train. And the way that I did it is, originally I just played through all the maps, and then I dropped to rank 44, because I just had nowhere to improve. So I started working on my control and my combo. These 2. I didn't have the accuracy to keep up at the time. So what I decided to do was just work on wrist control so I wouldn't miss as much, and combo control so, again, I wouldn't miss as much. And with that, naturally my accuracy came just from I would be able to FC a map that others would miss twice on and get the same AC as them. And then progressively, my accuracy started getting better, which ultimately allowed me to move up to a top 10 position. And that's how I view getting better at the game. I view getting better at the game as playing for your skills as opposed to playing for your rank. Playing for your rank will be able to help you, but it's largely just your ability to play the same maps over and over and not get bored and get diminishing returns. Personally, I would prefer to work on actually getting better in my entirety as a player before I get better at certain maps. And I will focus on these areas such that later on, when I do want to play ranked maps again, I can only play them once or twice and get a significantly better score than I could get before. When I made my push from around rank 26 to rank 3, I didn't play a single map more than once. I managed to make that jump in a total of 2 days, spanning about 4 to 5 hours of gameplay, and just replaying every single map that I had without replaying any of them twice during the push. And through that, I was able to show that yes, I had increase in generic skill, and I was able to get to a higher rank than I would have had I just sat there playing for rank.